Check out the 1988 Jeep YJ project. I think it's going to be a fun little project. Between 1985 between 1987 and 1995, the Jeep Corporation, they started making what was affectionately known as the Jeep YJ. The production run of the Jeep YJ was a little over 550,000 units, probably the smallest production run of any of the Jeep models that they've produced. CJ5, CJ7, YJ, TJ, JK, JL. What we have is a 1988 Jeep YJ with the 4.2 inline 6 carbureted engine. Arguably one of the least desirable Jeep Wranglers ever produced. And I've got one, and I'm gonna restore it. It was my daughter's first Jeep. She picked it out. I found it, but she really fell in love with it. We got a good deal on it. So we picked it up. We put a lot of work into it. It was drivable, but it did need some engine work, some carburetor work. It needed, the suspension was shot. So we put a lot of effort into it, a little bit of money, and we got it drivable for her for a daily driver. She has since moved up to a newer model Jeep with AC and heat and all those niceties. And so I have re-inherited the 1988. I'm going to do a restore on it. Not going to do a full classic car showroom restore. That's just not feasible for this particular model of Jeep. But I am going to do a Resto-Mod on it. I think I may add some air to it actually. Over the course of the next few months, hopefully not too many months, we'll have I'll do videos of each little mini project as they happen. I guess you would consider this the introduction video to the Daily Brew Garage 1988 Jeep Wrangler YJ restoration project. It sounds very official, doesn't it? Basically, we'll see what we can do. All right. Suspension has all been replaced a while back. Let's see. So new leaf springs. The guy had put some kind of, I don't know, he welded, whoever had it before me had welded this trailer hitch nonsense onto the bumper, and so I kind of hacked my way around to make room for the leaf springs. It was originally, I think, what they call khaki green, which is really kind of a cool color. I don't know why somebody painted this black along the way, and they didn't prime it first. They didn't even take these fender skirts off to paint it. They just painted over. I don't know why they did that. They should have left it the original color. My guess is that the clear coat had started flaking off in some places. So rather than do it correctly, I guess they wanted a black Jeep. I don't know. But that you can see on the inside of the doors, that the original color on the inside of the tub is all there. So this tub will be coming off, and we'll be getting it stripped down and repainted the original color. Kind of an investment we're going to put in there. It came with a hard top, which I've got stacked up back there. It needs some work because it doesn't have all the attach. It's just the top with none of the mounting hardware. The mounting hardware is all screwed up. So I'll get that worked on. But we did add this added this soft top to it. So, and it's been living with that soft top ever since. The YJs were taking the soft top down. It's a little bit of work. It's not like the newer Jeeps, but it's served its purpose so far. Got this light bar on it that I'm not a big fan of. That'll be coming off pretty soon. Yep. New sway bar disconnects. I put some quick disconnects on there and tried to weld the tabs in. That didn't work really well. I don't think I'm going to be doing any extreme off-roading in this Jeep, so having the quick disconnects, these are quick enough. You just pull those 2 pins and then tie the sway bar up out of the way. Believe it or not, those shocks are new. They're just dirty because it's an old dirty Jeep. This front axle would be getting replaced. I want to get a front axle that does away with that vacuum controlled actuator that pieces the 2-piece front axle together. I want to get rid of that. So the only rust that I've really found on the Jeep so far has been after it did have this ridiculous winch. I won't call it a ridiculous winch. It was not a bad winch. It's piled up on my boat right now. These are the original wheels that came with the Jeep. They were chrome at one point. I guess when they painted the Jeep, they also painted the wheels. I wish they would have left them the original color, but they didn't. So we replaced them with those fuel wheels, which are really kind of cool. Anyway, it came with this, I forget the name of the winch. The winch worked good for about 15 feet. I had spooled all the cable out to wind it back on tight, and it gave up the ghost after about 15 feet of cable, so I just yanked the whole thing off. I'm going to keep this mounting plate, but for right now, I just yanked the whole thing off. It reduced the front end weight of the Jeep considerably. So anyway, back to my original story after chasing that squirrel. The only real rust I've found has been from behind this winch, where mud and stuff had gone bad. And I don't know, I think this is like a faceplate over the original grill, because it almost looks like that original grill is the original color, and the headlight frame doesn't really line up. So I think I may be able, it may just be this thing that is rusted, and I may be able to take that off and just either replace that or go without it. I'm not sure. So that'll be a weekend project sometime pretty soon. Front bumper is going to need some help. Obviously, they couldn't make up their mind when they were deciding what to mount where, so they just kept drilling holes. So I will be replacing that front bumper, and probably when I pull the tub off, then I'll get down to the frame and I can really inspect the frame. But I've not really found considerable rust where the frame is rusted through, or any of the body panels. Nothing is rusted through. So I think, based on what I know so far, I've got a fairly good platform to start from. So we replaced that old Carter BBD carb. We replaced it with this Weber. That was on the way. The other one was really running rich and just really fouling out plugs really bad. So obviously this is the 4.2 inline 6 carbureted. Carburetor's in good shape. And I am gonna, when I yank the tub off, I will be pulling this engine out and doing a full rebuild on the engine. Not a huge fan of the 4.2, but trying to convert this to the 4-liter is going to require changing a whole lot more all the way down the drivetrain. So I'm gonna stick with the 4.2. But overall, it runs pretty good. Going to replace the radiator. Pretty much everything within the engine compartment is going to get replaced. Replace the radiator, rebuild the engine. I'll keep that carb. The brake, the brake master cylinder and all that stuff. It all seems to work fine. It looks like it may be leaking, but it's not, as far as I know. That wiring harness attachment is in horrible shape, so I need to see if I can find one of those somewhere. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. It looks to me like something caught on fire at some point. I don't know if it was brake fluid that caught on fire somewhere, but somewhere along the way a lot of this stuff got melted, like that cap there and that whole harness. So it looks like at some point there was an engine fire of sorts on this side of the engine bay anyway. Something doesn't look right. So, but all of that, once the once we take the tub off to have it painted, then I'll go ahead and yank the engine out. I'll have it down to the bare frame, and then I can go from there. There's no catalytic converter, so that's going to have to be dealt with. So I'm just going to replace the exhaust. The exhaust brackets are all gone, so obviously you see the shiny spot on the front drive shaft where it's been rubbing that exhaust. I did have that temporarily tied over where it wasn't rubbing, but it looks like that my temporary fix is no longer fixed. And then got fluids leaking pretty much everywhere you would expect on a 200,000 mile old engine. I did replace when we did put the new suspension in, it theoretically was a 2.5 inch lift, which changed the pinion angles just a little bit, so I had to add some spacers into this cross member plate that actually holds up the transfer case. So got those swapped out, but these are the engine mount, or the body mounts. That's going to be one of the first things that I'm going to do, is I'm going to go around and see how successful I'm going to be at getting these out without breaking them. That's the big deal, is trying to get them out without breaking bolts and nuts. A great deal of the time consumption, or the time sink in doing the lift kit, was 33-year-old rusted out bolts and nuts that just did not want to budge. So these aren't in horrible shape, but a couple of them are in bad shape. So we will see. So that one's pretty bad. There's 3 on each side, and then there's one main one up under the front, and then there should be one somewhere up in here. I don't know. There's another one that mounts somewhere. I'm honestly not sure. I thought it was right on the top of the curved part of this frame, but I may be wrong. I have to pull a lot of stuff out, and then there should be another one right. This is always the one. Oh yeah, right here. So that one's actually not too hard to get to. I think on the TJs it's like under the fuel tank, or that may be the one up here that I'm missing. So I don't know. We'll see. I may only have those, but let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, that one's not great. So I don't know. I thought there was another one tucked back in here somewhere, and it may be. I think it's on that cross member. There's a cross member that goes. Let's see. we got, ow, wasn't supposed to hit my head. The doctor told me not to do that anymore. Where's this one? That's there. So there should be another one. Ah, there it is. You're not going to be able to see that. It is right beside the fuel tank. So it's right up there. My cinematography is horrible. It's just behind the exhaust on that side. So at least I know they're all there, and they're all rusted. We will see how well. Other people have had to cut a hole in the tub. I'm just showing you nothing at that point. Other people have had to cut a hole in the tub from the inside in order to get to this one that is right back in there. So anyway, 2 back here, 3 on the side. It's the same on both sides, and then the one right here in the front, which is squished, in bad shape. So we'll see. That's going to be probably the first step, is to just get out here with some PB blaster and wrenches and God knows what else we'll need, and see if those will break loose without breaking. And if they do break, then we start drilling them out. So that's there it is. Here's the start of the 88. I won't call it the start. We've actually done a lot of work so far. But that's where it is at this point. The 88 Wrangler, the infamous YJ, the one everybody loves to hate, hates to love. But that's where it is today. So we'll see what we can make out of it. I think I'm going to turn it into a pretty sharp little Jeep.